What's going on? What's going on? This is Mr. Opinionated coming to you this evening to talk to you about the subject, the programming in the background. Most of you know that I work with children, and you can have a lot of interesting conversations with children. You learn a lot about what they are being taught in their homes when you question some of the behaviors that they exhibit or the or when you listen to the conversations that they're having. Okay, so today, of course, a lot of you know I do attendance, and I have a lot of children that like to come in late. Children that come in regularly late. Like, say for instance, the school starts at 8:45. Children want to come in at 9:30, 10:30, like on a regular basis. So number one, children are being taught to be late. They're not being taught the importance of being places on time. But nevertheless, on to today's story. Student was coming in today, and a female student, she came in like all glammed out. She got her hair, got her full weave going, got her boots like all the way up to her knees. And I said, what, your hair looking good, you got your boots on, but you're not on time. You're like over an hour late. Have you been spending that much time doing your hair? What's going on? Why are you late every day? And she looked at me like, what? Like, looked at me like, are you like even asking me this question? So I talked to her about, the importance of being on time and spending too much time prepping in the mirror, and the mere fact that you are in seventh grade. And of course, many of you that know or have children, you know that seventh grade is the grade where a lot of high schools look at your academics, they look at your attendance, and things like that. So give the student her tardy pass. So she goes upstairs, and I went up to the room, of course, just in passing, checking on. And, she in there having a conversation, patting, rubbing on her hair. And I know that young girls have always been into their hair, so that's nothing new. But I think now the levels of like infatuation with hair, especially in elementary school, is like crazy. I have sixth, seventh, and eighth graders with like full installations, like full weaves, and they are more concerned about their weaves and their hair than about what's going on in their head. So I'm thinking, what kind of programming is running in the back of your mind where you more concerned about this wig on your head than getting some sense in your head? So what kind of program is running in the background? So I talked to someone else, and another staff member, and the staff member was saying, she was talking about her hair. Mr. McHenry talking about my hair not important. My hair is important, and I just got through seeing my man last night. Mind you, this is a seventh grader that is pretty much saying, I'm an old man anyway. What he's saying not important, and my hair is important, and I just got through seeing my man last night anyway. Of course, we know that children talking about having boyfriends is nothing new. We may have grown up with people that were a little bit too grown growing up, but this is the programming that is running through a lot of these children's heads. It's like, are you serious? It's like, this is what you thinking about in the seventh grade? Yeah, not her man. Yes, she said her man. And they look at me like I'm crazy when I ask them, why you walking in the door at 9:45 and class starts at 8:45. So number one, you got the program running in your mind that you don't have to be on time, and prepping your hair is more important. Number two, you got the program running in your head that you should have a man in the seventh grade. Some people don't even start dating or thinking about dating seriously till they're like in their senior and junior year in high school. So we have our children with this programming running in their head that they need to be dating, and they need to have all these extra accessories going on with their looks and their clothes, and it's like clouding a lot of their judgment, is getting in the way of instruction. And that's a very important thing, because when you send, right, Tangi said, or 30, exactly, because a lot of times it is very difficult to teach children when they have this type of program running in their head that they're getting from home, because they're not in school thinking about academics. They're not thinking about what the teacher is saying up at the front of the room. I'm thinking and talking about my hair and my boyfriend, or something that is so like up here in regards to what a child should be thinking about is absolutely crazy. And you know, I've heard things about mothers telling girls that their vaginas are their money makers. These are elementary conversations. I think a lot of people think that when we're in education, we like embellish and we like making stories that are bigger than they actually are. But we have mothers telling their daughters that their vaginas are their money makers in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So this is the type of programming that is running in the head of a child that is supposed to be focusing on getting out of elementary school, getting to high school, and getting out of high school. I see a lot of people throwing like the confused faces. Exactly. I'm like, why would you tell your daughter that her vagina is her money maker? Absolutely crazy. And it's not just girls. Of course, we have people giving bad programming, bad advice, bad things to the young males as well. So we are tasked, and I'm not in the classroom. I do attendance, and you know, I talk to kids and do other things. But it's like this is the type of programming that we are battling with, trying to get students to learn, trying to get them to think strategically, trying to get them to think out of the box. And like all of this like crazy garbage that is crammed into their heads that they're getting exposed to from home. I know a lot of people think I am really hard on parents, but I mean, I have to, because we're not teaching hairstyle 101 in the classroom. We're not teaching like your vagina is your money maker in science class. These are principles that are being instilled in children at home. And you have these educators are trying to do battle against what parents are teaching their child and making it almost impossible to do some things depending on the level of the programming that's going on. I said, Corona says, my mother, her name is Tina, would have made sure my topic of conversation would have never been about my hair again. I know. I mean, of course, even when I was in elementary school, you know, hairstyles are important for little girls, important for teenagers. But, I mean, you coming in with a full install in 6th and 7th grade, and, you know, I grew up with, you know, cosmetologists in my family, and I dabbled in it a little bit, but I'm thinking like, okay, this is getting a little crazy. It's like, why are people, number one, why are you spending that much money on the girl's hair if you want her to focus on education? If you don't want to give her a boost into being an adult, because I think a lot of the stuff that we're letting our children do, it's kind of pushing them into adulthood, and you know, we laughing, we're kikiing with them, and it's not cute. It's not cute when you have exposed them to all this adult behavior, and then they start acting like adults, and then you want to beat them on Facebook Live, you want to get your belt, you want to slap them. Is absolutely crazy. Where Roger says, yeah, rappers. It's like I don't know. I don't even know what to say. But you just see and hear so many things, and you ask yourself, okay, what's running in your head? Sit down and have a conversation with a kid every now and then. You know, and you don't really have to probe them. Just see what they talk about. See what's important to them, see what their values are. I mean, of course, everybody wants to be rich growing up, but like a lot of the things that they have ingrained in their brains are so like far out of the park. Like you're more worried about shoes than passing class and what kind of pants you have. We've all been there. We've all been exposed to fashion and think we had to have the latest and greatest. But I'm telling you, this is a whole nother level of programming that our children are having. And a lot of it is stopping them from progressing the way they need to and at the speed they need to. So it's very difficult. And Corona said parents have no idea of self. Yeah, because if the parents' value is in material things, then of course they're going to pass it on to their children. And I always say that children do not have the life experience and the maturity to deal with a lot of things that parents and other adults are telling them, because they just don't. And they take it and they are running with it with a child-like mentality and child principles, and they're leading themselves to self-destruction. So we have to really be vigilant. I always say you be vigilant with your kids. Be vigilant with your kids. And on top of that, we still have report cards. Like so many schools still have report cards from the first quarter in their office because parents don't pick up report cards. Another crazy thing. So, you know, if I have the program running in my mind that my parent is not checking up on me anyway, they're not picking up my report card, nobody in the extended family is checking me out at school. So number one, I don't think that anybody cares about me. So school is not important if nobody cares. So that's also a program that's running in my head. So if nobody cares, therefore, if I don't have it within me to do my personal best, then it's really not important. So that's another dangerous program that's running in the minds of our children. And I say all of this is so dangerous simply because children are the future. If you destroy the seed, then the future will be very bleak. So many of our potential leaders, so many of our potential teachers, so many of our potential activists, so many of our potential scientists are being destroyed at the infancy level from the crib, getting exposed to these principles, getting exposed to sex, getting exposed to derogatory terms, getting exposed to so much dangerous information that they do not know what to do with and they do not know how to process because they are children. Children are not little adults. They're children. Children are not your friends if you're their parent or you're their guardian or you are some kind of adult they look up to. And I think that so many people do not want to be in the driver's seat. I know I talked about this before. You don't want to drive. You don't want to be responsible for yourself or anybody else. And children are being driven like into these big gulfs to break their necks and to drown. And it's like, it's crazy. So I'm encouraging everybody, even if you don't have children of your own, you know, have a conversation. See what these kids are thinking. We're wondering why they're getting into so much mischief, why they're on the corners, you know, slinging, why they're shooting each other. Some of the things that these kids have seen and been exposed to and are being taught is the main reason why they're getting in so much trouble. And I have DeMar says, parents and people don't talk to kids anymore. Everyone in different parts of the house, in different rooms, they focusing on their phones, their TV, and they want to be like Love and Hip Hop. Turn off the TVs. You know what? When I was growing up, and of course I really sound old, did any of you have a black and white TV in your room, or was that just me? I had a little black and white TV that we were watching. Me and my brother and my sister were watching. Of course, there's a bigger TV in the living room, but we didn't have all of this stuff. You know, we were playing Office. And of course, since I'm the oldest, I was always the boss. We were playing Office. We were counting money. We were doing stuff that required creativity, of course, because we didn't have a whole lot of stuff anyway. You may have had a Nintendo or an Atari back in that day, but we didn't have a lot to go with in the first place. So we had to be creative. We had to think about games to play in and things to keep our minds busy. But the children have so much. I often tell the parents, your children do not need smartphones. I know they give the phones out two for one specials. However, if your child has a smartphone, that is a gateway into destruction, because they can see everything, they have access to everything, and you may be one of those parents who has the phone set up where you can monitor everything and you can have it blocked, but most parents don't have these phones set up like that. So I often tell people, if your child has a smartphone that you are not monitoring, those are like the gateways in destruction. They can see all the sex they want. They can see all the crazy fight videos they want. They have access to information 24/7. They're sleeping with the phones. They're embedding all the stuff into their memories. So I tell the parents at school, get your child a block phone. The phone is really just for emergencies, right? Because that's, what parents say. I want them to be able to reach me on the phone just in case of an emergency because I'm working and things like that. And Tangy says, first thing I did was started my son on a smartphone. The smartphones, you can do everything. Like a lot of my business stuff I do on the smartphone. It's just too much. And I think it's a matter, just like I talked about earlier, like the maturity. Kids cannot handle the stuff that they're being exposed to. And you said they answer everybody, but you're right. A lot of kids don't even pick up your phone. They look at the phone, oh, it's mom or dad. I'll get back to them later. I'm not going to answer. So you're paying for a phone and your kids don't even answer the phone. But really, it's like, I know, but Tanya says she wishes she can take it back. But it's like the phones are addicting. The internet is addicting. And once you get hooked, it's like taking the things away. It's like they go through withdrawal because we're addicted to the phones and to having immediate access. Who remembers when TV used to go off and the Pledge of Allegiance used to come on and like TV just used to go off? And there was a time when there was nothing to watch unless you had cable, unless you had what it was on TV. I think it was on TV with a little box and a little dial. So TV went off and you didn't have anything to do anyway, so you went to sleep. But now the phones give you 24-hour access to the news, which is crazy because I don't think all of the time is that so much is going on that's crazy. It's like we have access to it. And right, my sister said jukebox, right. But we didn't have any money to watch the jukebox, so I was waiting for somebody else to pay for the music video to see it. And Roderick said Spectrum. Right, it was all these things that are nowhere near Xfinity or all this crazy stuff that we have access now, but it's like the program, it's like they're programming the kids. It's like a lot of the language that they're using, a lot of the terms that they're saying. It's like being inundated with the information. And then a lot of times, parents may not even know what their children are watching. Parents may not even know what they're being exposed to. And then like it comes out in school and it's like, and I'm like, where did you hear this from? Or why are you talking about this? Or why are you cursing? And the kids, they talking about MF and B and this, that. And I just look at it, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. McHenry. I'm like, no, you're not. Like the way that you curse, I know that you do it so freely. You're an expert at it because you do it all of the time. But the programming that is running is that, what are you talking about? This is normal. This is my normal way I talk. This is just general. I'm just kicking it. So, and they're running, the program is that this is how I should talk all the time. Not having the maturity to know how to turn it off and on, because that's another thing with our kids. They don't know how to be professional. They don't know when and where to speak using proper English or slang or using terms that don't fit in certain situations. So I believe it's all about the maturity level. They don't have the life skills to deal with all of the things that we are letting them deal with. Now, of course, I wasn't perfect. I was kind of sheltered. All of us saw things growing up, but the level of things that children are seeing now and that they can't handle it, they can't process it, and they think that they should be doing these things at such a young age, and is really setting a lot of them up for failure. And what my sis is saying, yes, clothing, behavior, language, ideas, even President Obama recognized the impact of media, television, and radio. Right. It's like, and we're talking about this in Bible class, the seduction of media and images and music and things like that. They can't handle it. They cannot handle it, especially if they don't have someone else on the other side sitting down saying, okay, it's a song. Let's see what the song is saying. It's like they can't divide reality and entertainment. And of course, you throw love and hip hop and all of these scripted, a lot of them are scripted reality shows, and the kids are thinking they're real. So they thinking that it is real life and it is normal. It's normal to be hopping up on conference tables and fighting. It's normal to like grab somebody by their hair and sling them into the pool. A lot of the children think that this is real and that this is normal behavior. And a lot of the times, all of this behavior is creeping into the classroom and into the schoolhouse, and so much time is spent trying to correct the behavior at a school level and try to change the mentality and trying to let people know that this should not be done in this type of environment. This is an educational environment. You're here to learn. You're here to hone your skills. You're here to learn from somebody. And that is going like way over their heads because the programming is so strong from television. What Roderick said, he said, and grown people think it's real too. You know what they do? You can tell by the conversation that people are having about the people on reality TV. They're like talking about Apollo and Phaedra and their relationship. And if you listen to people's conversations, it's like you think that's real life. I mean, there are some pieces of it that are real, but is manufactured entertainment. So many of us watch, so many of us want to be entertained. If you want to make some money, go into entertainment because no matter if the economy goes up or down, if it gets bad, people are going to want to be entertained to take them away from their reality. And a lot of the reality shows take us away from our crazy dysfunctional lives. So you're right, bro. A lot of people think that the shows are real, but a lot of them are scripted entertainment. The people get paid to do that. So that's all I wanted to talk about this evening. It was like the programming that our kids have, and it is really, really setting them up for one because it's I see it every day. I hear it every day from the time students walk in, from the time they leave. So 7 hours a day inundated with all the programming that children are receiving at home. And sometimes, parents, they feel some kind of way, when I say it, because I say it often. I said, you know what, a lot of the stuff that the children are doing, we're not teaching this upstairs. We're not teaching this in first grade. We're not teaching this in kindergarten. We're not teaching this regularly. This is something that is being taught in your house by you or your family or people that you have let your child be exposed to. So some people get offended when you say that, but it's the truth. It's like kid get 13, 14, 15, 16. It took 16 years for you to program this child, and you wrecking your brain trying to figure out why you can't fix it. It's going to take just as long for you to get that child the way they were supposed to be before you let them get messed up. He said, or food, people will want to eat, but go back to the classroom. Right. If the economy go down, right, people want to eat because we want to feed, we want to deaden ourselves. We want to make ourselves feel good when the economy goes down. So go into feeding, to eating, and drinking and entertainment. Those are all things that when times are bad, people are going to spend money on things like that anyway. It says, I had a child tell me, and quote, I'm about that life you see on TV. You know what? Because a lot of them think it's real. I mean, who grew up watching WWF wrestling and Glow and all this stuff. We thought wrestling was real. We thought, Hulk Hogan and all that stuff until, we grew up, and then you looked at some of the stuff that's going on. They busting people upside the head with metal chairs, and they look like they're breaking their necks. A lot of that stuff is, of course, entertainment as well, because we know that people would be dead if they were doing stuff like that. They have wrestling schools that teach how to do the techniques. So people they do think they're about the life, like DeMar said, on TV, and they think they're about the life with the music that their songs, the songs that they hear. I don't know what song it is, because I know one of my friends was talking about it on their Facebook post, like they think the person was saying eating the booty like groceries. People weren't talking about that hard until they started singing it in a song. So that's what I tell people to pay attention to. If you hear something in a song repeatedly, we know the radio stations play it over and over and over and over and over and over and over, the same songs playing nonstop on all the stations. Whenever they want people to start doing something or to think that something is regular, they put it in a song. They put it in a song and they play it constantly. They want you to buy something or make you think you need something. They run a commercial and they play the commercials over and over and over and over and over again. Or people put products in the music videos. They place it in the music videos. There's a party video and you see Puffy, big bottle of Ciroc, and it's just there, and it's like subliminal, and they're programming people, and you think, oh, I may want to try that, or oh, maybe that's something that I should try to experience. And just like I say, I tell people all the time, put in a song, get a good beat, put it in a song, and play on repeat. So what can we do when children are being programmed to this level? Use the same methods that advertisers are using. You want children to learn something good? Put it in a song. Put it in a song. Put some positivity in a song. And one thing about music, because I know I've heard a lot of mainstream artists say, you know what, I'm just catering to what people buying. I got to eat. I got to feed my family. So the record companies are not green lighting positive music anyway, because it does not sell. However, there is a market for music. Like when you think of Hannah Montana and all these Disney kids, and they were making all these bubblegum lollipop songs that didn't have bad messages. These children became millionaire young adults, and of course, when they get young adults, they go wild and want to prove that they're not about that anymore. But we need to start hitting them, and my sister says promoting it, hitting them using the same methods with positivity, with learning books and learning timetables. Put that in music. Make it alluring. Make it fun, because those are the methods that are being used to program our children. So you gotta examine these strategies of the enemy, and you need to learn to use them to counteract the placement that the programming that the children are being taken through. So that's my message from for tonight. Just wanted to talk about that, because just some of the things that you hear from the kids and some of the things that they think they need and the way that they're presenting themselves, and it's like, wow. And some of them you can have a conversation with and trying to walk them through it rationally, and you'll see them try to correct behavior or try to improve. But some of them have been bombarded so much with the negative messages till it's like so hard for you to reach them, especially if the parent or guardian or extended family are reinforcing that same programming at home. And of course, we know that we listen more to our family members and our close friends and guardians more than we listen to educators, unless that educator has done something to trump them in our heads. So it's there's a lot of work to do, and a lot of the work to do is with the children. So on that note, I'm about to get out here, read this last comment. It says, sounds like a great research paper, how current media has impacted the classroom of the day. I promise you, from the time that children walk into the door, from the time they leave, it's like you are dealing with stuff that they have had access to at home. And I'm not in the classroom, but I have so many friends, not only at the place that I work at, but other schools that is so frustrated till you try to teach these children these principles. And the way that the school system and these standardized tests are built up, it's like if the students learn the information, all they have to do is regurgitate it out on a test. So it's like they don't even have enough time to teach strategic thinking and really deep learning. But the programming is so bad that a lot of them cannot even get the information to parrot it back out and be successful on a test. So that's how good the programming is, and that's how much students are being bombarded with information from the outside, and it is really affecting their education. And it's sad because, you know, as time goes on, these are going to become adults that cannot read well. These are going to be adults that cannot do basic math. These are going to be adults that are detached from reality and how to be successful in the real world. And it is going to have an effect later on in life. So that's at the core of the problem, is that a lot of the things that are going on is going to change the quality of the lives that they lead in adulthood. So that's my message for tonight. If you see a kid that you know that's struggling, that has some bad programming, chat it up with them. Try to help the child as much as you can, and pray for them and sprinkle some positivity in you can. So thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting. I will check you out next time. Have a wonderful evening.